Trump's Folly, Canada's Triumph, How Strategic Patience and Quiet Diplomacy Could Reshape North American Power. By Stephanie Larocque. Donald Trump's dream of making America great again hinged on a strategy filled with confrontation, unpredictability, and outright hostility toward long-standing allies, none more prominent than Canada. But this short-sighted vision was fundamentally flawed, and Trump's gamble is unraveling spectacularly. Like many of his infamous business ventures, Trump misread the situation, acting impulsively without thoroughly considering potential consequences. History tells a familiar tale. Trump habitually overestimates his own strategic genius, rushing headlong into ventures that ultimately implode. This latest saga is no exception. Trump saw himself as the only real player on the chessboard, dramatically underestimating Canada's capacity for resilience, planning, and strategy. His narcissistic blind spot, always believing he's the smartest person in the room, proved again to be his Achilles heel. Trump's approach was akin to that of a neglected child, desperately seeking validation and overcompensating for deep insecurities through aggressive posturing. Canada, on the other hand, quietly anticipated Trump's inevitable moves, showcasing masterful strategic patience and foresight. Far from being intimidated by Trump's aggressive tactics, Canada methodically prepared its counter-moves, revealing a strategic sophistication that left the U.S. administration scrambling. When Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, Canada responded sharply yet strategically, targeting $21 billion worth of American imports to generate maximum economic and political discomfort in the U.S. This precision wasn't accidental, it was designed to inflict calculated pain on Trump's political strongholds, effectively turning his aggressive trade measures into domestic political liabilities. Recognizing its vulnerability in relying heavily on the U.S. market, Canada swiftly expanded economic ties with Europe and Asia, leveraging agreements like the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement and the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. These strategic trade shifts insulated Canada from U.S. volatility and opened pathways to unprecedented economic resilience and growth. Moreover, Canada asserted itself strongly in the Arctic region, bolstering military infrastructure to secure its sovereignty. This not only safeguarded valuable resources, but positioned Canada advantageously in future global trade dynamics, further enhancing its geopolitical influence. Trump's bullying rhetoric inadvertently ignited Canadian nationalism, galvanizing unity across a nation historically marked by internal regional divides. Canadian citizens and political leaders alike rallied around national pride and sovereignty, finding common ground in their resistance against Trump's annexation threats. This unexpected outcome has only strengthened Canada's political and social fabric. The U.S., meanwhile, faces potentially severe repercussions. Trump's impulsive economic warfare threatens lasting damage to critical American industries. Politically, his strategy risks isolating the U.S. globally, diminishing its influence precisely at a time when coordinated international efforts on issues such as climate change and economic stability are paramount. Furthermore, Trump's short-sightedness has created opportunities for other global powers to step into diplomatic spaces traditionally occupied by the United States. China's growing influence in Asia, Europe's increasing autonomy, and Canada's enhanced international presence collectively signal a significant shift in global power dynamics, one hastened by Trump's own reckless policymaking. Yet, Canada's success is not solely about countering Trump's aggressive moves. It also reflects deeper, long-term strategies and historical insights. Canada has always leveraged its soft power, building goodwill through humanitarian efforts, peacekeeping missions, and consistent diplomacy. Unlike the brash and often confrontational U.S. approach, Canada's careful diplomacy has established trust and opened channels for influence and cooperation, positioning it uniquely as a mediator in global disputes. Economically, Canada's proactive diversification strategy was not a knee-jerk reaction, but rather an extension of policies pursued quietly for decades. With extensive natural resources, including critical minerals essential for modern technology, Canada is strategically positioned to benefit from the global shift towards sustainable development. Its efforts in renewable energy and green technologies further amplify its role in shaping future global economic systems, areas where U.S. leadership has wavered. Canada's nuanced diplomatic approach extends far beyond economics. Through its leadership in climate diplomacy, support for international institutions, and unwavering commitment to democratic values, Canada has set itself apart as a trustworthy partner. Its ability to garner global trust is now translating into tangible economic and geopolitical benefits, strengthening its global partnerships and enhancing its influence in international policy decisions. Moreover, Canada's fortification of its Arctic presence reflects profound strategic insight. As climate change reshapes global shipping routes, controlling Arctic passages will become critically important. Canada's foresight in this arena ensures that it will play a pivotal role in future international trade dynamics, directly affecting major global economies, including the United States. Canada's internal cohesion and national unity, catalyzed by external pressures from Trump's rhetoric, could mark a transformative era in Canadian politics. Historically divided regions have found common purpose, paving the way for ambitious national projects and significant policy reforms that were previously obstructed by regional disparities. This newfound unity may profoundly strengthen Canada's federal governance, ensuring sustained political stability and enabling decisive action on both domestic and international issues. From the perspective of the United States, Trump's aggressive policies are not only detrimental in the short term but pose long-term strategic challenges. Loss of trust among international allies limits America's diplomatic effectiveness, reduces its negotiating power, and potentially undermines its global leadership. Trump's administration has created lasting distrust, eroding decades of carefully cultivated alliances, something future administrations will struggle to rebuild. Canada's success in managing and navigating these challenges exemplifies strategic patience, long-term thinking, and diplomatic finesse. It sets a powerful precedent for other smaller nations confronted with bullying from more dominant neighbors, demonstrating that strategic planning, thoughtful diplomacy, and leveraging international goodwill can yield substantial results. Ultimately, Trump's miscalculated aggression toward Canada may become one of his greatest strategic failures. As Canada emerges more unified, economically resilient, and globally influential, Trump's vision of an America First world order fades into isolation and disarray. Canada, it seems, has turned Trump's folly into its triumph, fundamentally reshaping North American geopolitics and potentially setting a blueprint for how smaller nations can successfully counteract the aggression of more powerful neighbors. Well played, Canada.